Hey traders, everyone. Coronavirus lockdown still here, working from a home office. As you can see, my hairs are getting longer and longer. I'm sure that you are experiencing the same thing. I really hope that this coronavirus shutdowns, lockdowns, quarantines will be over soon. We already have some dates here in some European countries available, so maybe after those Easter holidays we will see some reliefs. So I hope sooner or later we go back to old style of living. So what will be covered? As always, a lot of FX markets and obviously some of correlated markets which have an impact on those currencies. So euro dollar, what's going on here? Well, we can see a very slow price action here. There are some undecided moves, and probably this comes from the news that ministers in European Union failed to agree about this economic support because of coronavirus, and new talks will resume later today. So I'm sure that once the deal is reached, which is a must thing actually, we will see probably move higher on the euro dollar. Technically speaking, still, I mean, it's very valid scenario that we see a move to the downside, but I favor somehow the bullish case. The bullish case, at least for the short term, indicates that we could see a rally towards 1.1 level, okay? Especially because we've broken this trend line here, which is actually trend line, even this if you connect on this bearish impulse count, if you connect trend lines from the highs to wave 2, you can see a breakout. So this breakout in wave 4 is not very common. It typically represents that you are in a new, different degree of the wave, okay? So I would not be surprised if we see more upside, even if that would be only an ABC recovery here. I still somehow anticipate higher prices, and the reason probably is coming from the Bund, where we can see here that the Bund made a very nice 5 waves of decline, and actually if this Bund market will continue to lower, as you know, yields are moving higher, which means that there can be a demand for the euros in general. So I'm still thinking that sooner or later those negative correlations between Bund prices and euro dollar will sooner or later come back. And this is very clear wave count, if you ask me. So I would have very hard time selling euro here, okay, based on this interpretation. What about cable? Well, cable is actually looking very good and stable, okay? I've been looking for maybe still for an ABC recovery here with an extended wave C, or you have already an impulsive reversal from the lows, meaning you are in a new phase of an uptrend on pound. But in either case, I identified this pullback as a corrective, and looks like so far the price action is pointing to the upside because we recovered very nicely. We are now trying to break this upper trend line, the parallel trend line of this corrective channel that I connected the lower side with waves A and C. So I'm looking for more upside here, definitely push above wave 3, meaning we are looking for a push into wave 5. So after that, just be aware of new potential corrective setback once new highs are reached, okay? Now, if we take a look on Aussie dollar, I just read that in Australia there are a lot of withdrawals, cash withdrawals in Australia, meaning that there's some kind of a panic out there. But I just cannot imagine these days how you will or where you will spend this money in cash because of the coronavirus. Not a lot of shops will accept cash payments, just electronic payments or credit cards. So I really don't see this, the solution in this. It just represents to me that there is a panic, okay? And this may not be over soon. So we'll see how this will actually unfold or will impact the Aussie dollar in general. I mean, I still see potential corrective rise here. On the hourly chart, you have an ABCX ABC movement, and maybe we are now finishing this second zigzag here. There's still a chance for a move into the second resistance around 0.63 level. This is also the equality level of second zigzag compared to the first zigzag, so it's a very important level, but we are already still here at the first resistance that should not be ignored anyhow. Okay, so Aussie dollar still is in uptrend, so I know ranges are huge still, and it's very hard to find a very solid risk-reward trade. So in my opinion, still the best idea to wait on a potential 5-wave drop first, either from here or maybe from higher prices. But once this happens, and when you see this broken trendline support, that's the timing when you will be able to identify the proper invalidation level, and of course you would be able to look for more weakness because you would have a 5-wave reversal. If this does not happen, then just track the Aussie itself and maybe come up with some different ideas. But this sell-off, impulsive sell-off, it's, I think, really needed and important to show up before we may continue to call for more downside here on Aussie. At the same time, obviously, watch this dollar against Chinese yuan. This still could be ongoing corrective decline. We may see another push down here for wave C. Maybe this can even be some kind of an ending diagonal for wave C if maybe wave B has finished up here. Okay, so when this correction is done, that's the timing when Aussie dollar will ideally come to the downside as well. Now let's take a look on. You can take a look on gold. Well, gold is, as you know, it's a very tricky, but it's bullish. Okay, but as I said already in our last video, this could be either ABC x ABC very deep correction here against the previous drop, or it's a 5-wave movement. Okay, but even if this is a 5-wave movement, you still would expect maybe, or at least you should be aware of a 3-wave pullback. Okay, so in either case, I think, and I would not be surprised if we see a slowdown or even a reversal here on this gold. Even if I would be bullish, extremely bullish, and even if I would be willing to buy, I would possibly wait on this 3-wave setback first. Now let's take a look on crude oil. Now crude oil made a very nice reversal here from the lows, and looks like that we are stepping here into the higher degree wave 4, maybe even a new bullish reversal. But I really love the structure on the hourly chart, clear 5 waves up. We have a 3-wave setback here on May contract. So I'm continuing to look for more upside, and at the same time on the 4-hour chart there is even a chance to look at this reversal as a potential head and shoulder bottom formation, and you are now seeing here the neckline. So if we can break this and maybe close above $30 per barrel, then I really think that we may see a move back into this gap here. Okay, so crude oil is remaining on the at least for now, I think, on the bullish side. There was also news that Saudi Arabia and Russia could agree on a potential production cut, but still only 2 million per day may not be enough based on current global supplies and demand. So maybe this would be just a temporary impact for crude oil. Still, deal would mean that OPEC is moving probably into the right direction, and as a positive sentiment could easily lift prices. So watch out for crude oil for potential next push to the upside. At the same time, obviously, be aware that commodity currencies that are linked to crude oil could see a recovery. Even Canadian dollar, which is moving sideways, it does not have any clear price action, but maybe the lows could be retested if these energy markets will continue higher. Now, even dollar Mexican peso, maybe this one has a better structure than dollar CAD. I see more weakness coming here. There was, sorry, that's an old wave count. Okay, here's a new one. Okay, there was a 5-wave movement. Maybe a move out of a triangle here was a final, and we are now reversing. This reversal can take us, even if you would label maybe this as a flat, okay, you would maybe expect still that price will trace back to this starting point of the previous wave B rally. So still there is room for more upside, while crude oil, as you can see here, could definitely stay in this uptrend as well. Okay, now let's take a look also on the S&P 500. Now I have been turning bullish on the S&P 500 recently, and so far, if you recall from the last 2 days, I said that this S&P 500 remains in bullish mode on the intraday charts as long as we are trading above these swing highs, which in fact could be very nicely supported for a wave 4. And so far this reversal really was a textbook, and if that's the right approach now, then you know that we are in a 5th wave. Still room for more upside, but just be aware that this uptrend could slow down because you have 5 waves up, right? Now, if we take a look on German DAX, even here we are rallying into a 5th wave right now, so that could be a potential resistance here at a new high. So just be aware. I'm not saying that we will stop there. I'm just saying that be aware and don't be surprised if the price comes down. It's totally normal, because after every 5 waves, market will tend to make a 3-wave pullback. But until you have a 5-wave fall from a new high, that means that 5th wave could actually still be in progress until that happens. Okay. Okay. Now let's take a look also on dollar against Turkish lira. This one, as you know, is very bullish, but even this one indicates that we may face some pullbacks. Okay, so if I see a very weak currency that could potentially retrace against the US dollar, then you know what this could mean maybe also for other currency pairs, which are other currencies which are already stronger at this stage, like pound, for example, compared to the US dollar. So if this market will turn to the downside, if even these weak currencies will turn higher, it means that other strong currencies could maybe even gain even more against the US dollar. So what I'm looking at here is that we have a 5 waves up, potentially within this extended wave reach. So just be aware that we could face a new corrective setback. I can also see some overlaps here in this final part and of this 5th wave, and you have also a divergence on the RSI, meaning that bulls are not that strong anymore. So be aware of this pullback, and a deeper correction definitely could come in play when this swing low is broken, especially if you see a broken trend line here. Then be aware of deeper pullback into wave 4, maybe even back into this swing cell. Okay, so if you're bullish on this pair, definitely you want to see a pullback. If you are bearish and want to short, then definitely still too risky, prices too high. You don't have enough of evidence to say that market is really topped out here. You always need an impulsive decline first. Okay, traders, thank you for your attention. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Talk to you soon. Bye.